All right, everyone. So this might not be something that fans love. Okay. So we're reading here from comicbook.com. According to analyst Michael Patcher, Battlefield general manager Byron Beatty told him that Battlefield Studios is developing a plan that will allow the series to become annualized by the 2030s. At that time, the series would have three studios working on rotation, similar to Call of Duty. This would likely be DICE, Ripple Effect, and EA Motive, alternating like Treyarch, Infinity Ward, and Sledgehammer Games do on Call of Duty. It's unclear if Battlefield would use this to make games in different eras or styles, such as one that is the typical modern day shooter, one that's in a historical war like World War II, and maybe something more unique like Battlefield Hardline, which was a police centric spin off. Of course, this is all hearsay. Patrick could be misquoting Bede, given he didn't provide an exact quote. However, BD and his cohort, Vince Zapalia, both used to hold big roles on the Call of Duty franchise. They may seek to use lessons learned to try and emulate or improve the Call of Duty formula. Either way, it doesn't sound like the best way to make Battlefield games. It's a franchise that has longevity. People still play Battlefield 4 and Battlefield 1 games that are both about a decade old. By churning them out, it may kill that replayability factor, as there won't be time to grow any kind of significant attachment to the games. And so the article headline here is Battlefield is reportedly planning to release new games every year. So when I saw this headline, I had to read this article because we've been doing, obviously this whole channel is kind of dedicated to Battlefield right now, although more FPS games will also be involved with this channel. But I just think this is such a bad idea, and I am a big fan of Call of Duty as a whole. I don't love where it is right now, but I was someone playing Call of Duty 4 all the time, Modern Warfare 2 all the time, World at War all the time, Black Ops, Modern Warfare 3 was another one I just absolutely loved. The first Modern Warfare 3. It was really the thing that got me into, even the YouTube scene in general was watching people playing Call of Duty. And, what you just begin to notice is that games that are on a yearly release schedule, I think really kill the games every year because it's so annoying that you play this game for a year and then you know what? That's it. Right now, the next one, you got to go to the next one. You got to go to the next one. You got to go to the next one. And I know you could still go back and play some, like, it's not that there's no way to get an online game, like this article said. There's still people playing the older Battlefields. But when you have a yearly release, it just kind of forces you to get to the next game because everything in there is okay, the new weapons, the new this, the new that. And the max you're going to probably be playing is maybe the year prior, but you're still not even up to date with what you're doing. So you just kind of feel the need to play that next one. And I think that's really killed Call of Duty. I think, you had a run from Call of Duty 4 to, I didn't really play, to be honest. Modern Warfare 3 was kinda where I stopped playing a ton, and so I know people say Black Ops 2 was, like, super good, so I maybe those games were even better, but for me, just would have to say Modern Warfare 3, but actually, I'll throw Black Ops 2 in there because everybody says it's so great. So, Black Ops 2, there was a run of a good chunk of time where, yeah, they kept producing really, really good games, but the problem is you continue to produce these really good games, and they just at some point, you hit the wall, and you can't continue to do it, and it becomes what we've seen now, where there's a lot more focus on the Warzone aspect. It just doesn't feel as fun as the Call of Duty games. And the first thing we said about this beta was this felt like Battlefield 3, which to me, I'm not even talking from a gameplay perspective, although that in that way too. I'm talking about the perspective of I could sit at my desk playing Battlefield 6 beta for hours on end without really all that many unlocks. I mean, sure, there was those challenges, but besides that, there was not a ton. I was just ranking up my guns, having a great time. And that's what the old games used to have. They didn't need a microtransactions everywhere and all of this other stuff to make you want to play. Right? They were just fun. They were just fun to play. And that's what Battlefield 6 has. And so I think this is just a terrible idea, especially now. Like, honestly, the yearly release for Call of Duty made a ton more sense in Call of Duty 4, in Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, in World at War, when you didn't have really the live service genre in any way, shape, or form. And I know obviously live service is gets a bad rap, right? In many cases for good reason. But there is a way you can make a live service game that's actually quite good, right? Where you make it so, okay, it's live service, we're gonna like something like Fortnite, right? Like people maybe they have their criticism of Fortnite, but that's a perfect example of a game that's like, yeah, we're just going to continually update this same game. And yes, you could buy the battle passes, and yes, there's microtransactions, and there's this and there's that. But at the end of the day, Fortnite's still a ton of fun, right? And I think it's a good model. Whereas back in the day, you didn't really. I mean, I'm not someone who's up on the technology, but I don't actually think you could even do something like that. Like you could have the kind of bandwidth to have a game constantly being updated, not with small updates, but to the level that they are now. So now it makes less sense to have yearly releases. Like Battlefield 6, if I'm buying the game and I'm playing it, like I want to just play the freaking game. And the next Battlefield game I play after this one, I want it to feel like such a step up that I'm like, holy crap, I have to play that game. I have to play that game. Like it's such a step up. Everything, you know what I mean? It's like you're to the point where it's okay, we're ready for the next one because they add so much technology, they add just so much stuff to it that makes it so much better. And, I'm more of a fan of for Battlefield, I like the modern day games more than the, older games. But for Call of Duty, that was another thing where it was like at least you were getting the kind of switch off between, okay, we were going from World War II to modern day. World War II, modern day was like kind of this back and forth, right? And so, like I said, it made a little bit more sense to have those yearly releases back then. It just to me doesn't make any sense. Like, why not just make it like, okay, we're gonna put all of our time into making another great Battlefield game down the line, and we'll keep updating this. And by the way, people will pay if you make a great game and you provide extra content, people have no issue paying for it. Like even battle passes. I understand, everybody doesn't like them, but the reason they don't like them is because people are like, man, this is all you guys were focusing on. You could still put a battle pass in the game and have it one of those things where it's like self-sufficient. That's one of the things I loved about, and I don't know if it's still the case now, but at least in the beginning with Fortnite, where I bought the battle pass once, and as long as I played till the end, right, I could get the other one for just off the in-game currency. You could add this stuff and people won't be freaking out as long as the content of the game is good. When people freak out, it's okay, you put a battle pass in here and the game stinks. Why are you doing that? So you can still keep the game alive. You can keep the game going without having to have yearly releases. But clearly they think that's the way to go. And I'm not even saying like I can bet that if they did switch to the yearly release schedule, they may have, 4 bangers in a row, right? We get 4 years where the games are great, and then you're gonna get the Call of Duty effect where it loses something. It's not as good. And so I hope this isn't the case. I really think that I understand they wanna compete with Call of Duty, I guess. I mean, that I guess, maybe that's one of the reasons that they do this, but people are not going to love people I think are would want to be, at least in my case, right? People want to buy a game and to be like, you know what, I'm gonna get like 4 years out of this game. Like I really don't love the fact that you buy these online games. It's like, yeah, played it for a year. Now next year I'm getting a new one. I don't know. Just isn't really all that interesting to me. So thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next time.